It's been almost 3 years since StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty came out with its somewhat controversial Terran-only campaign, but now it's time to zerg it up with its first expansion, Heart of the Swarm.
Moved heaven and earth to bring you back, Sarah.
I am the Swarm. Worlds will burn.
I never gave up on you. Don't you give up on us!
The campaign picks up from the end of Wings of Liberty. Old Jim Raynor has rescued his forbidden love Sarah Kerrigan, aka Queen of Blades, leader of the Zerg. And after locking her away in a research lab, they've managed to mostly transform her back into a human. Although clearly Zerg DNA is tricky to get out of your hair.
This reminds me of the old days.
My hair's got more gray in it.
And my hair's got more Zerg.
Kerrigan gets dramatically split up from Raynor, launching her on a crusade to reclaim her crown as the Queen of Blades, reunite the Zerg swarm, and enact vengeance on those who would keep them apart.
Destination, Zerg space.
Confirmed.
It's pretty much the most ridiculous love story you could ever imagine.
Yes, but it's told well through Blizzard's trademark beautiful cinematics. And much like Wings of Liberty's Hyperion, here you have the Leviathan to act as a home base between missions where you can chat to a motley crew of Zerg for extra tidbits of story.
Your strategy against the Terrans was strange, but I understand it now.
It's not quite as enjoyable as the Hyperion though, which felt like a warm, welcoming home complete with bar and TV and arcade games. This just felt like a weak reskin with a bunch of weird aliens to talk to.
It does have its practical purposes though.
Rupture strain. Leaps to close on enemy.
It's where you can evolve your swarm through evolution missions, which test out 2 possible evolutions for a unit before forcing you to choose one. You can also level up Kerrigan after you earn enough experience and pick out special powers and abilities.
And you can pick special mutations for each of your units, leading to an impressive amount of customization options for your swarm. And these do dramatically affect what strategies you'll use out on the field. Other than your one-off evolution choices, you're free to change them at any time and experiment with what works best for you as well.
Personally, I like the evolution which lets your Zerglings spawn instantly in packs of 3, combined with Kerrigan's ability to let them respawn for free when they died. So you just have this endless swarm of Zerglings. Crawl, my pretties! I love how gross the Zerg are. It's one of the high points of this campaign.
The missions themselves are all masterfully designed. You almost always have some big problem to deal with while constantly being thrown lots of little challenges to keep you on your toes. And I really liked how you almost always have Kerrigan or another special character with you, and using their special abilities is generally essential to success. It's like they've just popped a bit of Diablo in my StarCraft.
It's a perfect learning curve too, teaching you the ins and outs of each unit and then testing what you've learnt. And more levels now feature environmental hazards like lava surges, flash freeze storms, or poisonous gas attacks.
The infested will die.
And even a few boss battles to mix up the strategy.
Yeah, that being said, they do play it quite safe, don't they? I mean, it all feels very familiar. And I understand with a series like StarCraft, you know, they have a formula that works and it's well loved and fans will get upset if they mess with it too much. I just wish they'd taken a few more risks with the campaign.
Yeah, it is quite a traditional real-time strategy game, isn't it? And to me it feels like I'm coming home to an old friend though, so I didn't mind that so much. One thing I think people will have a lot of fun with though is the Master Archive. This lets you go back into the campaign missions and tweak all sorts of parameters to change things up. All in all, it's a solid campaign with a decent length, but we should talk about the multiplayer, Hex.
Yes, now as a disclaimer, we are not pro players, we're not even very good players, and we play online almost always ends in a slaughter, so we're not really in a position to talk about, you know, the intricacies of how the new units affect the balance. But there are 7 new units all up, including the Hellbat and Widow Mines for the Terrans, the Swarm Host and Viper for the Zerg, and the Mothership Core, Oracle and Tempest for the Protoss.
A few new units may not sound like that big a deal, but when it comes to the competitive scene, it's quite a substantial difference. And there's also 26 new maps, which is a hefty addition.
Now, we actually reached out to Toby Lee, who is the esports facilitator for some of Australia's pro community, to get his take. He basically likened the additions to adding new pieces to a chessboard or new positions on a footy team that could pass the ball forward. So they do change the dynamic quite a lot, and yet they've done a good job of balancing them, as we'd expect. But, you know, at its core, this is still the same great multiplayer game we got with Wings of Liberty.
The community features have been improved as well, and there's now support for groups and clans in the game. But the best new feature is Take Command, and this option lets you start playing the game from a saved replay, so you can take control of a famous pro match for yourself. And that's a fantastic feature, and on top of that, now you can recover games if you lose connection.
Well, we should wrap this up. Final thoughts?
Well, I think people already know if they want to get this game. It really is a refinement of something that was already very, very good, so I'm giving it 8.5.
It's an 8 from me.